What up, what up? Welcome back to the channel. I'm Mo.J. We are locked in. This is episode 5 of the Underground Railroad, Tennessee Exodus. Now, we remember last time we got to see a young Ridgway, why he became what he became, and looking at his dad and telling him, hey, we got to get some slaves. We can't be hiring free men. We got to make some money. But before we get into today's episode, shout out to the notification gang. If you're new to the channel, you want to be a part of this, hit your subscribe button, turn on your notification bell so you get something every time I upload. Hit that like button. It's the easiest thing you can do. Now, this week is going to be interesting. I can't even say this week because it's actually a continuation of the series. Now, this is going to be very interesting. We know that at the end of episode 3, they caught Cora. They blew up the Underground Railroad entrance. So now we got to find Cora's mama. That's what we after right now. So let's jump into it. This is episode 5, the Underground Railroad. Starting the episode off, you can see that it's smoky everywhere. It might be cloudy too, because when they captured Cora, it wasn't that bright outside. It looked gloomy outside, but right now the forest on fire. They got Cora running next to the wagon. Homer's in the wagon. Yeah, get on up there. And there's also a slave in the back of it. The reason they have Cora running next to this wagon is to tire her out. The reason they do this, you tire somebody out, and this goes to even today, you tire somebody out, they're more likely to tell you any information they have for a chance to get some water or to get up off them feet and in the back of the wagon. It's finally time to set up camp, and let's just take a little break because we got to let the horses, drink their water. We got to drink our water. Now, they're sitting there, they're all around, and they want to know what's going on, but Ridgway says it's probably just a spark or some lightning that caught this area on fire. It happens all the time. Forest fires start by, just a random lightning strike. While they're sitting around, Ridgway's partner, you remember the guy that he met at the bar? He's sitting around and he's pretty much just disturbing Cora and this slave. He comes over to Cora and he's like, yeah, make the best of it. Now this gentleman over here, this runaway, he's sitting here and all he's doing is singing. When he was in the back of the wagon, he didn't say anything to Cora. He was just looking at her. And now he's just singing. He's always singing. And this bounty hunter comes over and kicks him like, hey man, cut that singing out. Ain't nobody trying to hear that nonsense. One thing people, they're going to knock Homer for, but Homer is a kid. He is very, very loyal to Ridgway. But at night, he's supposed to be chained up while he's sleeping. But for this young man, he's very, very smart. So he knows how to get out of it. So he gets out in the middle of the night. He goes over to Ridgway. He picks up his gun, puts it back. And then he goes lay back down and he puts his hand back into the shackles. That's how loyal he is. But he's no fool. He is no fool. Homer gets back in the front seats, locks himself back up and goes to sleep. Now, of course, like, all right, everybody sleep. I can talk to you. Now, this man, his name is Jasper. But Jasper, all we know about Jasper is Jasper sings. No matter what, he's always singing. And the reason he's singing is because he's just showing nothing's going to break my spirit. I tried to run away. So if whatever they do with me, it doesn't matter. I'm going to sing until the day I get free. Now, Cora's like, hey, we've been going west this whole time. Why haven't you been eating? You need to eat. And he just looks at her and he starts singing. And what this is signifying is I'm not going to eat anything that these white folk give me. I'm not going to be dependent on these white folk. I'm trying to get away from them. All they're doing is enslaving me. And me eating this food is just showing, hey, I gave in. I might as well be a slave. I eat when you tell me to. So him singing was keeping him going. Hungry or not, he's just going to sing. Because he'd rather be a free man than to die a slave. This forest fire must have been massive. We see all these white people coming out of the woods, coming through the smoke. Because when the forest fire hit whatever little village or town they live in, it's just like here in California. When those forest fires come, take whatever you can grab and get the hell to a safe spot. Because it ain't no coming back. Whatever gets burned down, that's it. Ridgway and Cora have a conversation with each other about how did he stumble across her. He said, I actually got lucky. Now, we always knew Ridgway knew about the rumor of a underground railroad. Well, there was a guy in Virginia that told him, hey, man, there might be a stop in this little town, the town that Cora was caught in. And she's saying, oh, you found me like you found my mom. He's like, nah, I stumbled across you, but I was going to find you regardless, because let's not doubt my skills. I'm a very skillful Negro hunter, and I was going to catch you. But her bringing up her mom leads him into getting very disrespectful. Ridgway brings up Lovey. Now, you remember Lovey got caught trying to run away, with Cora and Caesar. That's why I say Cora has two bodies on her. She has Lovey and she has Lil Grace in the attic. Now, Ridgway brings up, oh, Randall, he has a vivid imagination. And what he explains is, when we came to come look for you, they had Lovey strung up by hooks with a stake through her. Now, later on that night, we heard a loud noise. I thought maybe it was some animals in the wood. No, it was still Lovey. She was still alive and she was all hung up. So he's telling her, hey, I could easily take you back right now to to the Randall plantation, and you can see what happened to Lovey, and it's going to happen to you. So don't question me and how good I am, because there's people out here worse than me. They said Lovey was up there for 2 days, legs just a kicking still. And Ridgway finishes this conversation, lights up his pipe like it was nothing. We getting back on the road. Homer, get up there now, get up there. Got Ridgway up front, and all of a sudden you just hear a loud noise. You're like, "When? What the hell is that?" And over the hill comes a man on a horse. I'm talking about, he got that, woo, they galloping. He sprints right past them. So they all looking like, what's going on? Ridgway actually turns around and follows them to probably try to catch up with him and see, hey, what are you running from? Ridgway goes to investigate and see what it is. Now, slave hunter A, he goes back and he's trying to have his way with Cora. Now, she's fighting it at first, but then she realizes, man, it's not worth getting beat over. So she says, okay. He starts to unchain her, and then you hear a gunshot. So now he got to be on alert. He has to leave that alone. Good for Cora. But he turns around and he pulls out his gun, and you see even little Homers out there like, man, what the hell's going on? And you just hear, hey, put your gun down. Turns out the gunshot was from Ridgway, and he comes back with a bag of food. He drops it on the ground. He's like, all right, load up. Let's get on out of here now. It's been a long day. Let's go ahead and set up camp. We need to take a little break, boss. So Ridgway's like, all right, this is where we're going to set up right here. We're going to set up camp for a little bit, get us some rest, and then we back on the road. What it looks like is when slave hunter A was trying to untie her, let her out the chains, he may have left the key there, or she found a piece of metal, because she's in the back of the wagon while they're setting up camp, and she's actually she's unlocking herself up out of here, because you know what we about to do. We about to get on this road and we about to tell it, get the hell up out of here. You feel me? Shh, be quiet. And that's exactly what we do. We get the hell up out of here. Ridgway sees her. He looks. Oh, she ain't gonna get far past his horse. Like, yeah, girl, I know. He walks over to slave capture A. And he's like, what are you doing? Whistles. He's like, shit. He got to run over there. You know Ridgway ain't doing no work. I'm the boss. He sits back, opens up his flask, makes him go chase her down. She doesn't make it far, though. I mean, that was expected. She probably should have waited till nighttime and till everybody went to sleep. But you never know. You got to take whatever opportunity you can get. So she gets hawked down by slave catcher A. And Ridgway comes over. And, you know, she trying to bite his hand because, hey, at this point, I'm already caught. It's already, hey, it might be the end for me. So forget it. I'm going out fighting. But they just hold her down because Ridgway still needs her to try to find her mom. But he sees whatever tool or whatever she had on her, and he takes it from her. It turns out what he took from her was her okra that she had. Remember, she was up in the attic, and what got her in trouble? You either gonna have to eat this stuff or get rid of it, because it keeps coming back on you. Every time we mention okra, they own you about something, Cora. Come on, girl, let's get right. We got to get up out of here. But they're sitting around, and Ridgway's looking at it. He's like, I was never really a fan of it. You know, just too slimy for me. While they're sitting around, you got slave capture A. See, we didn't give him a name because we just knew he wasn't going to last long. Slave capture A talking all kinds of reckless. He's been drinking and stuff. Homer's like, hey, chill. And he's like, hey, sit down. So Ridgway's like, oh, whoa. We know that he's always going to watch out for Homer. So he says, Homer, sit down. And Homer's like, hey, boss, the reason her chains was unshackled today is because of him. He was going to do something inappropriate. So the guy's like, oh, man, forget that little end, man. I'm the only one here. You believed in the Great Spirit. Remember, the Great Spirit is what his dad told him. So he still has this connection with his dad. He has a flashback, Great Spirit. He's like, you believed in the Great Spirit, but the Great Spirit didn't do anything for you. So he ends up shooting slave capture A. One, because he disrespected his dad. 2, because he disrespected young Homer. 3, because you unchained a slave that I'm trying to use to get some money in the end. So you messing up the business. So Ridgway, go ahead and get rid of him. The whole time this is going on, slave capture A is laying on the ground, dead. Jasper over there just singing. It ain't gonna break my spirits. Slowly but surely, these white folks, they'll die off, or I'll be free. But I'd rather die a free man than live a slave. Night falls, we put him back in the wagon. I won't say we, they put him back in the wagon. I don't do no slave catching. I don't do none of that. But she's in the back and she's talking to Jasper, and Jasper ain't paying no attention to it. Now, I think Jasper is listening to all this, but he's trying to, in his head, put together his own plan. So she's like, you can sing, you can do whatever. But these people in Tennessee, they gonna get what they got coming. Now, she's going through a list of things. She brings up her mom and she's like, yeah, you probably up north having a grand old time. We down here suffering, but when I see you, I'm gonna kick you in your teeth. I don't know why they showed her mama after they said she was gonna kick her in the teeth. She like, you gonna kick me? What? I ain't do nothing. But this right here is helping her cope through the night. She talks to Lovey. Hey, Lovey, how you doing, girl? I know you're looking down on me, smiling. I'm sorry for what I did, Lovey, but they were trying to get away. Caesar, if I could go back, I would do things differently. I think you know that. I can't wait to see you again. We need another episode with Caesar. Gracie, stay strong. At least now you're free. After she finishes talking to everybody, Jasper turns over and looks at her and says, thank the Lord you ran out of words. And this right here makes Cora so happy, because he's finally talking and not singing, but he has to cover her mouth like, girl, shut your ass up. You gonna get us killed back here. I knew what was going on, but I ain't talking. All these white folks gonna hear is me singing. I'm gonna get on their nerves until they either kill me or let me go, because either way, I'm gonna be a free man. Now, it turns out my boy Jasper's from Florida. He was a picker, though, picking that cotton, picking the fruit, picking whatever they wanted him to. Jasper was picking. But he ran away, made it as far as Tennessee. That's a long-ass run. Florida to Tennessee, it's an 8-hour drive from Georgia to damn Kansas City, where I'm from. So, Florida, oh, man. But he said he got caught because he was in the cupboard looking for some damn food. Cora's talking about, I always thought you was like sick in the head or something. He's like, no, I'm not sick in the head. You are. You keep running away and getting caught. Nothing is changing. So she said, why aren't you eating? And like I said earlier, he'd rather die free than live a slave. And he's saying every time you eat, you're just making yourself healthier. They can keep using you. You'll still be a slave. You'll still be captured. So dying is better than living a slave. See, in his mind, he's free. Can't nobody touch him. That's why he sings, because at the end of the day, it's like, man, they got me chained up, but they can't take what's up here. You might as well get rid of me, because you're not going to get any kind of effort out of me. Nope, none. I'm free in my mind. They come up on a little village, and of course, Jasper's back there. He ain't doing no talking. Cora's back there, and Ridgway unshackles her and gets her out to walk around and see something. Now, they know not to unshackle damn Jasper. Jasper gonna get low on their ass, so Jasper gotta sit in the back. We hear a little bit more of how Homer became so loyal to Ridgway. Now, Ridgway, we seen him as a youngster. He admits that he never owned a slave, and the thought of having them never really crossed his mind. Now, that's conflicting with what we've seen. Maybe him not owning the slaves, but his dad owning the slaves. That's neither here or there. But he said he took an interest in Homer, but he freed him the very next day, and Homer just followed him. So he's like, man, I guess I'll just show him the world. And he learned a few things with me. Cora asks, so why do you chain him up at night? And he's like, I don't do that. Homer chains himself up at night so he can go to sleep, because that's what he was used to as being younger. It's weird, but that's how it is. They come across a dead body in one of the tents, and Ridgway says it's from yellow fever. Now, yellow fever is very, very deadly, people. I got a yellow fever shot because I was supposed to go to Africa in 2017 to Djibouti, but that didn't happen. Yeah, different story. But he's saying this place was burned down. Homer's like, I thought it was lightning. He's like, oh, no, that was just a tall tale. There's people here that burned it down because they ain't liking what's going on. So Cora says, you're the expert about it? And he said, yeah, I guess so. I'm from here. What I tell you, they doing all this walking and talking. Jasper always had a plan in his mind. When you free up here, Your body gonna be free eventually once you figure it out. Jasper got low on their ass. He talking about, Homer, go look in the woods. Homer like, all right, Jasper. Now Ridgway got to actually do some work. We didn't kill slave capture A. So he looks at Cora like, don't you dare run. Just kidding, people. Jasper ain't get low. He actually went to the little church that they had there and he started praying. Now Ridgway gets in there and slaps him in the back of the head. And he's like, hey, he's going to look at you. He's going to see what you done. And he keeps repeating this. And what he's talking about is the Great Spirit. You remember his father always said the spirit runs through everybody. Everybody is equal. So that's why we get the flashback of his dad, because the spirit is running through Jasper. And his dad can see through Jasper. He can look at you and see what you did. That makes Ridgway think like, damn, maybe my dad was right. Ridgway comes and talks to Homer. And what he's telling Homer is, listen, it's just you and I left. What happened earlier, that was my fault. I let them get away. I was doing some stuff, doing more than what I can handle. Now, since it's just you and I, we need to be able to trust each other. You're going to have more responsibility. You're going to have to become a man and be strong like me. And what he does is he hands Homer the keys to the slaves. You see what I'm saying? He's giving Homer more responsibility because he actually trusts Homer and Homer believes in him. Now, Homer is still a black guy. He gets treated very, very well by Ridgway. But Ridgway's trying to show him, even though you're not white, I still respect you because the Great Spirit is starting to take over him. And Ridgway and Homer, they're both all they got. So we got to make this partnership work all the way. And that's why Homer has so much loyalty to Ridgway. He's been taking care of him. And when anybody says anything to him, Ridgway stands up for him. They set up camp again. Ridgway comes over to Cora with some food. Looks like slop. I mean, it looks terrible, but it's food. And what she does, she throws the food back like, I'm not going to eat, because she's been listening to what Jasper says. As long as you're eating, you're healthy. You're healthy. You can continue working for them. They can make money off you. So she throws the food back. And what does he do? He comes over and tries to force her to eat. But then he goes over to Jasper because he knows that she learned this from Jasper. Jasper hasn't been eating at all. So what he does with Jasper is take Jasper's shirt off. I'm not going to show it because he's very malnutrition and very skinny and it's disturbing. So he takes his shirt off like, well, you're going to freeze then. I'm going to sit here and watch. And then he goes and tries to light up his pipe, but it ain't lighting. That's because the Great Spirit is watching. He's seeing what you've done. And he's not going to let you enjoy anything. And these two, they're not going to eat. Homer's supposed to be watching Cora while she uses the bathroom. This is because Ridgway has to use it himself, but when he looks over, he sees a raccoon. We need some food. He shoots it. Once he kills the raccoon, he's talking about, oh my God, what? And you hear Homer, yes, sir. Yeah, good shot, boss. You did your thing. Cora takes this as an opportunity to get the hell up out of here. And then as soon as they turn around, they like, damn, Cora done left again. Homer, go watch Jasper. Cora. They yelling Cora's name like she about to turn around and say, here I go. For Cora, she runs off in the woods. She actually makes it to what looks like a little lake, a little pond or something. And then she walks in it and she just walks as far as she can until her head is submerged up under the water. Because I'm thinking, hey, man, I'm just going to go ahead and end it. This is the best way to end it. It's faster than starving yourself. Just drown myself. At the same time, we see the last breaths of Jasper. I mean, it's cold out there. He hasn't been eating. You know, all kinds of things are wrong with him, but he's in the back of the wagon. This is probably the end. They lock Cora up next to Jasper's dead body, and she's crying the whole time that they brought her back from the pond. Now she's been sleeping in here next to it. You know, the body's starting to deteriorate. It's just horrible, man. You're laying next to a dead body and you're chained up and there's nothing you can do. You don't even want to imagine nothing like this. Jasper's dead. They just threw him out the back of the wagon. They got that coon on the fire. They eating real good now. But it's time to saddle on up. And you see that Cora's actually eating now. Because without Jasper, it's like that was my motivation. That was who I was looking to. Jasper had a plan. But it didn't last. So she's actually eating. Because at the end of the day, man, it's hard. You may think that you'll die behind it. But it's hard starving yourself. That's probably one of the worst things that you can do is starve yourself. That's going to take days and days and days of suffering. I won't show much, but they leave Jasper out here and that's the end of him. They back on the road. There you go. Episode 5, Tennessee Exodus. Now we understand why it's called Tennessee Exodus, because all the fires that was in Tennessee, Ridgeway is from Tennessee, and all the drama and stress and everything that happened in Tennessee. Let me know what you guys think about this episode. I'm Mo.J. If you like the content on the channel, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. And hopefully next episode is a little bit more cheerful than this, because I hate the seriousness and having to be straightforward and talk about all of this stuff that happened and relive it. But hey, till next time, thanks for watching.
Jimmy on the beat, boy.